Good day, everyone, to all the listeners and televiewers, my dear parents, especially to the grade 9 students. Are you ready to experience a very challenging task for this school year? Welcome to Bamboo Telescuela. This is your School on Air in Science Grade 9. I am Teacher Teresa, your teacher on air. To our grade 9 students, find your most comfortable space at home and make sure to grab your module at this moment. And tune in to DWND FM and at CMD Cable Vision Channel 1 and also streaming live at SDO Cauayan Facebook page. Today, we are going to start a historical and exciting adventure in studying science. Yes, it is. Because amid this pandemic crisis, education is still accessible for all. Aside from that, this is the first ever experience of having this kind of schooling throughout the ages. Are you ready, my dear students? I have 2 reminders for you. First, you will answer the questions during the discussion. Second, you prepare your module, your pen, and your answer sheet. Module 1 Melc 1 is divided into 2 lessons. Lesson 1, the respiratory system. Lesson 2, the circulatory system. After going through this module, you are expected to: number 1, explain how the respiratory and circulatory systems work together to transport nutrients, gases, and other molecules to and from the different parts of the body. Number 2, describe and label the parts of the breathing system. And number 3, identify the components of the circulatory system. Let us see what you already know. Turn your module on page 5. For those who are watching, questions are flashing the screen. For those who are listening, I will read the questions for you. Number 1. What is the main function of the respiratory system? A. Provide oxygen and remove carbon dioxide from the body. B. To bring oxygen to the body. C. To break down food and absorbs nutrients. And letter D. To remove oxygen from the body and deliver carbon dioxide. Number 2. The passageway in the upper respiratory tract. A. Mouth and nose. B. Mouth and trachea. C. Pharynx. D. Bronchial tubes. Number 3. What are the main organs of the respiratory system? A. Bronchi. B. Lungs. C. Muscles. D. Nose and mouth. Number 4. Your body couldn't breathe without this system. Which one is it? A. Perspiration system. B. Photosynthesis. C. Respiratory system. And letter D. Urinary system. Number 5. When you breathe in air, you bring oxygen into your lungs and blow out A. Carbon dioxide. B. Carbon monoxide. C. Hydrogen. And letter D. Oxygen. Time is up! Let's check your answers! Number 1. A. Number 2. Letter B. Number 3. Letter B again. Number 4. Letter C. And number 5. Letter A. Did you get a high score? Very good! Let us now proceed to the first lesson. Your body is a fascinating creation that can carry out incredible tasks and activities. It is like a machine that is able to function with proper organization of parts and systems. However, our bodies also require proper care and maintenance. It is just fitting to keep going with a healthy lifestyle to ensure that each part is maintained while getting the most of it. Let's do the first activity. The first activity is entitled Fill in the Boxes. In 10 seconds, you breathe in and you breathe out. Maybe it is better for you to stand and find your diaphragm. Our diaphragm is found between our rib cage and the stomach. Okay, let's do it. Breathe in. Breathe out. Let's repeat. Breathe in. Breathe out. Okay, did you get it? Did you enjoy the activity? What did you observe after breathing in and breathing out? So what happened to your stomach when you breathe in and you breathe out? Let's answer the following questions. What happened to your stomach when you breathe in and breathe out? Number 1. When you breathe in, the diaphragm muscle will Number 2. When you breathe out, the diaphragm muscle will... What's the word? Number 3. Breathing in is also called... What's the word? Number 4. Breathing out is also called blank. Number 5. The air enters first. And what's the correct answer? Did you get a high score? Very good! Science is fun, right? Let's try another activity. And activity number 2 is entitled Sing Me. Do you know the song I Have Two Hands? You are going to sing with me in the tune of I Have Two Hands. Everybody, let us sing in 1, 2, 3, go! I have two lungs, the left and the right. I have one heart, so fit and right. The heart pumps blood, 1, 2, 3, carries the blood through the body. The lungs have trachea and bronchi, have bronchioles and alveoli. They work together, 1, 2, 3, inhale and exhale, the air is free. I have 2 lungs, the left and the right. I have 1 heart, so fit and right. The heart pumps blood, 1, 2, 3, carries the blood through the body. The lungs have trachea and bronchi, have bronchioles and alveoli. They work together, 1, 2, 3, inhale and exhale, the air is free. Based from the song we had, answer the following questions. Number 1, how many lungs do we have? Number 2, what are the parts of the lungs mentioned in the song? Let's define respiratory system. Respiratory system or ventilatory system is a biological system consisting of specific organs and structures used for gas exchange in animals and plants. It is also made up of the organs in the body that help us to breathe. Just remember that the word respiration is linked to breathing. What are the parts of the respiratory system? The following are the parts of the respiratory system, or also known as the ventilatory system. Number 1, the nose. Nose, the organ through which the air enters and is filtered. Number 2, the nasal passages. Serve as channel for airflow through the nose, in which the air is warmed, cleaned, and moistened. In the nose and nasal passages, the entering air is made warm, damp, and clean of unknown particles. Number 3, the lungs. So we have the right lung and the left lung. Each of the pair of organs situated within the rib cage, consisting of elastic sacs with branching passages into which air is drawn so that oxygen can pass in to the blood and carbon dioxide be removed. And number 4, the diaphragm. A large flat muscle that separates the lungs from the stomach area and that is used in breathing. What are the major parts of the lungs? Number 1, trachea. It is also called the windpipe. It is the empty tube that serves as passageway of air into the lungs. Number 2, bronchi, also called the bronchial tubes, are the 2 branching tubes that connect the trachea to the lungs. Number 3, the bronchioles. It is the finer subdivisions of the bronchi. It is also a tiny hair-like tubes that connect the alveoli. Number 4, alveoli, also called the air sacs. It allows gas exchange in the lungs.
The respiratory system is made up of organs that help us breathe. Respiration is the term used to describe the exchange of oxygen from the environment for carbon dioxide from the body's cells. The process of breathing air into the lungs is called inhalation, and the process of breathing it out is called exhalation. The respiratory system consists of all the organs involved in breathing. These organs all have their own unique functions that enable us to breathe as we do on average 23,000 times a day. The respiratory system includes the nose and nasal cavity, which perform a number of important functions, such as providing us with a sense of smell, warming and moistening the air we breathe in, filtering out irritants such as dust, and assisting us in the development of sound. The throat, also known as the pharynx, is a tube that carries air from the nasal cavity through the voice box, otherwise known as the larynx, down into the windpipe or trachea. The windpipe then splits into two breathing tubes, which carry the air into the lungs. These breathing tubes are called the bronchi, which extend into the bronchioli. The breathing tubes branch out many times throughout the lungs, until they eventually form tiny thin-walled air sacs or alveoli. The respiratory system does two very important things. It brings oxygen into our body, which we need for our cells to live and function properly. And secondly, it allows us to exhale carbon dioxide from our body. Carbon dioxide is the waste gas that is produced as a part of the body's energy-making process. As you watch the inhalation through the nose, throat, voice box, and into the breathing tubes, you will notice the lungs inflating. As we breathe in, muscles are working to inflate the lungs. The diaphragm, a large sheet of muscle which stretches across our chest under the rib cage, does most of the work during inhalation, causing the chest to expand as the lungs fill with air. The air travels down to the end of the breathing tubes, where it enters the tiny air sacs. The tiny air sacs are filled with oxygen from the air travelling down from the breathing tubes. Covering each tiny air sac is a whole network of tiny blood vessels called capillaries. Within the air sacs, the oxygen enters the bloodstream through a process called gas exchange. The tiny air sacs have extremely thin walls with a large surface area lined with fluid to enable gases to dissolve. The oxygen particles from the inhaled air pass through the walls of the tiny air sacs and surrounding capillaries and into the red blood cells inside. The oxygen particles are then carried in the blood by structures called arteries. The arteries carry oxygenated blood around the body to all your organs and tissues. This process is essential for our well-being. As the oxygen particles are diffused through the walls of the tiny air sacs into the bloodstream, carbon dioxide, a waste product of the body, is travelling in the opposite direction. The deoxygenated blood is carried in veins from the organs and tissues back to the lungs. Carbon dioxide is diffused from the blood through the capillaries and into the air within the tiny air sacs. Now that the air in the tiny air sac is saturated with carbon dioxide, the exhalation can now occur. Watch as the diaphragm relaxes and air is forced out of the lungs. The air travels back up the breathing tubes and is expired into the atmosphere. The lungs are a lot like balloons in that they require energy to expand, but no energy is needed to get air out. This makes exhaling an automatic response after inhalation. The respiratory system provides protection against foreign particles to prevent them entering the sensitive airways and causing disruptions to the gas exchange process. There are a number of protective mechanisms which the respiratory system has developed to safeguard itself. The nose filters the air we breathe in trapping dusts and other foreign particles. Mouth breathers will not have this filtering system, causing the lungs to be more exposed to foreign particles. If the dust does happen to get past the nose, the airways are lined with a sticky mucus which catches the foreign particles. Tiny hair-like structures line the airways to help move the mucus. The cough, which is a reaction to irritated airways, removes the sticky mucus from the airways. Mouth breathing has a number of impacts besides bypassing the filter system of the nasal cavity. Air inhaled through the mouth doesn't have the chance to get humidified in the nasal cavity, exposing your breathing tubes to harsh, dry and uncleansed air. Mouth breathing is also related to increased risk of infection, anxiety, stress, sleeping problems, and reduced immunity to infective bacteria or viruses. Breathing through your mouth can impact the body on a cellular level through oxygen and carbon dioxide deficiencies. Not being able to breathe through your nose can be caused by a number of different factors. If you are experiencing difficulties in breathing through your nose, speak to your GP about what could be causing your mouth breathing.
The video is of great help for you to understand how the lungs work. Are you having fun? Do you want more? Don't be nervous. You can browse the lesson anytime because SDO Cauayan City brings you the 4 modalities. So let us proceed to activity number 3. And activity number 3 is entitled, Label Me Please, the Human Respiratory System. The objective of activity 3A, Label Me Please, is to label the parts and describe each part of the breathing system. What about the next activity? Instead of using grapes because it is very expensive, we are going to use the malunggay leaves or the horseradish leaves. The objective of the activity is to label the key parts of the breathing system using the malunggay leaves or the horseradish leaves. What does each part of the malunggay leaves or horseradish leaves represent in relation to the breathing system? The main stem for number 5, the 2 large branching stems for number 6, the little stems for number 7, and the individual leaf for number 8. And so, the end is near, because in every lesson, We have only 30 minutes. Let's have a rundown to the points to be remembered a while ago in the discussion. What are the parts of the respiratory system? How the lungs work? I hope you learned something today. And always have the mindset that learning science is fun. So let's finish the session by doing the last activity. Activity number 4 is entitled Word Hunt. So the objective of the lesson is, inside the puzzle, there are words related to the respiratory system. All you have to do is to hunt at least 10 words based from the lesson you learned. Write your answer on your answer sheet or notebook. Note, you hunt either upward, downward, sideward, diagonal, or backward. Happy hunting! Now that we are done, you go over your modules and answer the questions patiently. Remember, patience is a virtue. The answers will be revealed in the next session. If you have questions or clarifications, do not hesitate to call me or message me at my CP number found below the additional activity in your module. See you again next week at the same time at 1:30 to 2 o'clock p.m. Here only on DWND FM, CMD Cablevision Channel 1, and continue to follow the Facebook page of SDO Cauayan City for more updates. Remember that education must continue amid the crisis. Let's embrace the new normal. Keep safe, everyone. Goodbye. Have a nice day. God bless. This is Teacher Teresa signing off.